happy that you jumped on sports because I think that's something that particularly probably leaders in HR and people who are talent recruiting probably need to think about as well, right? Because I think you may have mentioned that before is in sports, you see someone has a big trade and you're like, oh, yes, like they're on my team, but then they don't perform,
Yeah.
right? And I think a lot of times in business, it's probably very similar. Have you seen that before?
Oh yeah, no. So first of all, I see it from sports all the time because I am at heart a Philadelphia Eagles football fan. I was born in Philly, and I have seen us acquire so many talented players who then fell apart because of culture. And then the only Super Bowl we've ever won, we won with second stringers because of an incredible culture.
Yep.
And I think you see the exact same thing in HR and recruiting, et cetera. This is funny. I actually once asked this to a group of HR folks in the finance industry, which I always thought I'm setting this up for this specific reason. I asked them, have you ever had a hire that you thought was going to perform really, really well, and then they get in and they become a part of the team and it just falls apart? And almost everybody raises their hand. And then I say, really? Because everyone here is in finance or banking. And if ever there were people who knew that past performance is not indicative of future results, you'd think it would be the people in finance who have to promise that every time they talk about an investment fund or some other savings product, right? But we still do it. And in fact, there's even some research that suggests that we look at people's, we evaluate talent, not even based on past performance, but based on things we perceive to be their potential over their track record. So we're judging on what did you do before? What do we think you could possibly do here? Which is just an educated guess. Remember, there's no evidence that they're actually going to achieve higher levels of performance in our firm. And then we just ignore, hey, what team are we putting them on? What are we going to move? And a bad culture will destroy a high performer every single time. Starting in probably 2016, I became a huge advocate of bringing the whole team into hiring decisions as much as you can, right? This plays out in a couple different ways. Like I talk a lot about how in places like Whole Foods, like even at the corporate level, you have the team actually, an individual hires on kind of probation for 60 to 90 days. And then the team actually has to take a vote on whether or not they're a fit. But I even love organizations from whether it's knowledge work, or I've even seen it in factory work, that will actually train individual contributors who are going to be a part of that person's team in interviewing skills so that they can sit on the interview. That doesn't mean you still need people from HR in there, right? Because you can't have them ask illegal questions and that sort of stuff. But the idea that, hey, bringing new talent into the organization is everyone's business, because how they fit is going to be a huge factor in whether or not they make us better or we make them worse, right? And so training everybody to be a part of that and to look for that, I think, is a huge solution. I think if somebody's performance rests on the team that they're a part of, then that team should probably have a say, maybe not the majority say, but should have a say in who actually
Yeah.
gets to join the team.
We actually do that. Like when we hire someone, at least for my team,
Mhm.
it might come across a little bit intimidating, but we try to make a really nice environment and bring people in, have them do like a presentation. But in that round, they meet the team,
Yeah.
right? And because we want to make sure that that person fits to our culture, to our values, and that way
Yeah.
they also feel comfortable with the people they're going to work with, right?
Oh, I love that.
But
No, I love that. And unfortunately, like, you have to agree, it's still not the norm for a lot of
no,
organizations, right? Like
no,
a lot of organizations follow the same process. Honestly, a lot of hiring looks a lot like modern dating, right? Like, okay, you have all of these applicants and you have some HR generalist, 20-something-year-old person whose job it is to screen, or you have AI just screening people out, right? And doing the initial
swipe right.
interview. Right, right. You have them doing the initial interview, which is actually just sort of as a phone screen, right? I mean, that to me feels equivalent to swipe right or swipe left, right? You're just trying to filter
Yeah,
as many people out. When you have people that have promise, they mostly just interview with the manager, the person that's going to be their boss, right? And then as you whittle it down to maybe one or two people, what do? You go meet the parents, right? In other words, you go interview with the boss's boss. And then if there's a fit there and they have your blessing and approval, we make a hire. All the while, like, the rest of the extended family never gets to meet you, right? Which is
yeah,
no surprise why Thanksgiving is always such a disastrous holiday in the United States, and also why hiring doesn't seem to work out a lot of times, right? Is that we've never
Yeah.
brought all of these other people who the success of the relationship depends on. We never brought them into the decision. It boggles my mind. You know, I hear more and more examples of that. I love what you all are doing. It boggles my mind that we're still taking a very individualistic approach to who gets to join our organization, all the while paying lip service to these words like teams and what have you. And then again, not
Yeah.
thinking about that team fit.
Hey, if you're getting value from today's conversation, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss any future episodes of the Aspire to Inspire podcast.